This was last night. I live alone in a small rental house. Nothing fancy, just me, my stuff, and a layout I know really well. Bedroom at the end of a short hallway. Closet across from the bed. Bathroom to the left. I always leave the hallway light on at night because the switch is in a weird spot, and I hate walking into the dark. So when I woke up and noticed it was pitch black outside my room, that was the first thing that felt off. I checked my phone 2:17 a.m. I was about to get up and turn the light back on when I heard a cough. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a normal cough. But it was mine. Same scratchy tone I've had since I got sick a few months ago. Same little catch at the end. It came from the hallway, right outside my door. I just lay there, listening, trying to come up with literally any explanation that wasn't what my brain was already jumping to. Maybe the TV. I'd left it on. I muted it. Silence. Then it happened again. Same cough. Same spot. Right outside my door. I sat up and said hello. Like an idiot, because what else do you say? No response. I got out of bed and walked toward the door, slow, trying not to make noise. The whole time I had this horrible feeling that something was standing just on the other side, waiting. My hand was on the doorknob when I heard it speak. Don't open it. I froze. Because it was my voice. Not kind of sounds like me. Not similar. It was exactly how I sound when I'm half awake. Same tone, same breathing, everything. I actually stepped back from the door at that point. I didn't even realize I was shaking until I tried to speak again. Who's there? I asked. There was a pause, and then it said quieter. It's pretending. Don't let it see you. At this point, I'm fully panicking, but also trying to make sense of what that even means. Where are you? I asked. And then I got my answer. From inside my room. In here. Behind me. I turned around and saw my closet door was cracked open. I know for a fact I closed it before going to bed. I always do. The gap slowly widened. I didn't touch it. Something inside shifted. I couldn't see it clearly, just darkness moving in a way that didn't look right, like it wasn't shaped correctly. Then I heard breathing. Wet. Uneven. Too close together. The voice from the hallway suddenly got urgent. It heard you. It knows you're awake. And then the thing in the closet spoke. Hey. Same voice. My voice. But wrong. Like someone was copying it, but didn't understand how it's supposed to sound. I was stuck between the door and the closet at this point, and I didn't know which one was worse. So I asked the dumbest possible question. Which one of you is real? There was no hesitation. Both of them answered at the exact same time. I am. Right after that, the doorknob in front of me started turning. At the same time, the closet door swung all the way open. I didn't stick around to see anything else. I bolted for the window, got it open somehow, and basically fell into the yard. I didn't even grab my phone. I stayed outside until morning. Here's the part I can't explain. When I went back in, the hallway light was on again. My bedroom door was closed. And my closet was shut. Nothing looked disturbed. Except my throat hurts today. Like I've been coughing all night. I don't scare easily, but this messed me up enough that I unplugged the camera. I've got one of those doorbell cams, nothing fancy, just enough to see packages and who's at the door. It sends motion alerts to my phone. Last night, I got home around 9:30. Pretty normal. I remember unlocking the door, tossing my keys on the counter, and going straight to the kitchen. I even heated up leftovers and watched YouTube for a bit. Completely routine. At some point, I fell asleep on the couch. I woke up around 1:50 a.m. to a notification. Motion detected at your front door. I was still half asleep, so I almost ignored it. But something about the timing bugged me. It's not a busy area, nobody just walks up to my door at 2 a.m. So I opened the app and watched the clip. And there I was. Walking up to my front door. Same clothes I had on. Same jacket. Same way I carry my keys in my left hand and my phone in my right. The timestamp said 1:48 a.m. But I was already inside. I had been for hours. I remember just staring at the screen, waiting for it to glitch or correct itself. It didn't. In the video, me stops at the door, just standing there for a second. Not moving. Not reaching for the handle. Just looking straight ahead. At the camera. At me. Then it tilts its head slightly. I've never done that. Not like that. Too slow. Too deliberate. Then it smiles. I don't smile like that either. It was too wide. Like it didn't understand when to stop. I felt this cold wave go through my chest, like my body knew something was wrong before my brain caught up. And then the worst part. It reached into its pocket. Pulled out keys. My keys. I shot up off the couch and looked at the counter. My keys were right where I left them. I didn't want to check the door, but I did anyway. It was still locked. I went back to the video, hands shaking, and watched the rest. Me leaned closer to the camera, so close I could see details I never notice in a mirror: tiny scars, the way one eye sits slightly lower than the other. And then it spoke. The camera doesn't record audio clearly, but it picked up enough. 2 words. Let me in. Right after that, the clip ends. No footage of it leaving. No second alert. Just that. I didn't sleep after that. I sat on the couch with every light on, staring at the front door. Nothing else happened the rest of the night. This morning, I checked the app again to show a friend. The clip is gone. Not corrupted. Not blurry. Just not there. Like it never happened. I don't know if this is the right place for this, but I need to get it out of my head. I live in a small apartment building. Thin walls, old pipes, the kind where you hear everything: footsteps, cabinets, water running. You get used to it. About 3 months ago, the guy in the unit above me moved out. I saw him loading a truck, talked to him briefly in the parking lot. He said he was heading out of state. After that, the place stayed empty. No new tenant, no furniture sounds, nothing. At least during the day. A couple weeks ago, I started waking up around the same time every night, right around 3 a.m., to the sound of water running. At first, I didn't think much of it. Old building, pipes knocking around, maybe water shifting through the system. But then I realized something. It wasn't random. It sounded exactly like a shower turning on. You know how you can tell? That initial rush, then the steady stream hitting tile. Same pattern. Every time. 3 a.m. on the dot. I tried to ignore it for a few nights, but it kept happening. Same time, same sound, like someone was going through a routine. Turn on shower. Let it run. No footsteps. No movement. Just water. So I finally asked the landlord. He looked confused and said the unit hadn't been rented yet. No one had keys. He even joked about ghost showers, which I didn't find funny at the time. That night, I stayed up. 2:59 a.m. I sat on my couch, lights off, just listening. Right at 3:00. The pipes rattled. Then the water started. Clear as day. Shower. I grabbed my phone and went upstairs before I could talk myself out of it. The hallway was dark, and the door to the empty unit looked exactly the same as always. No light underneath, no sound leaking out into the hall. But I could still hear the water. Loud. Like it was right on the other side. I knocked. Nothing. The shower kept running. I knocked again, harder this time. Hello. Still nothing. Just water. I don't know why I did this, but I tried the doorknob. It turned. The door opened. The apartment was completely dark. No furniture. No lights. Just that faint smell of dust and emptiness. But the sound of the shower was loud now, echoing through the place. I stepped inside, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it over the water. Hello. I called out. No answer. I followed the sound down the short hallway toward the bathroom. The door was closed. The light underneath it was off. but the shower was definitely running. I stood there for a second, hand on the knob telling myself this was stupid, that there had to be a normal explanation. Then I opened the door. The bathroom was empty. No one inside. The curtain was pulled halfway across the tub, and behind it I could see nothing in it. I noped out of there and haven't been back in that apartment since. A few weeks ago, I noticed random videos in my camera roll. Short clips like 10-20 seconds, recorded at weird times mostly between 2 and 4 a.m. At first I figured I was half asleep and hitting record somehow. I've done that before. The videos were always dark, shaky, nothing really visible. Sometimes just my ceiling, sometimes a wall. So I ignored it. Then I started noticing something off. The angles didn't make sense. Like, one video was clearly pointed at my bed from across the room. But I always charge my phone on my nightstand, right next to me. There's no reason it should be across the room at 3 a.m. That freaked me out a little, so I started locking my phone more carefully before going to sleep. Didn't matter. More videos showed up. Always around the same time. Always dark. But getting closer. I don't know how else to describe it. The earlier ones felt distant, like the phone was sitting somewhere random. The newer ones looked more intentional, like whoever was holding it knew exactly where to point. Last night, I decided to stay up and catch it happening. I made coffee, sat in bed, phone in my hand, screen on. 2 a.m. passed. Nothing. 3 a.m. passed. Still nothing. Around 3:30, I must have dozed off. When I woke up, the phone was still in my hand. Screen black. Time was 4:12 a.m. I had a new video. Timestamp 3:47 a.m. My stomach dropped. I don't remember unlocking my phone. I don't remember recording anything. So I watched it. The video starts in complete darkness. You can hear this faint rustling sound, like fabric brushing against something. Then the camera adjusts slightly, and I can see my room. From the corner, across from my bed, the phone is clearly not in my hand. It's being held. The camera slowly tilts downward. And there I am, asleep in my bed, mouth slightly open, breathing slow, completely unaware. The video just holds on that for a few seconds. Then it starts moving closer. Step by step. Very slow. No footsteps, just that same soft rustling. The frame gets tighter. I can see details: my face, my chest rising and falling. Then the camera angle shifts slightly to the side. Like whoever's holding it is leaning in. Getting a better look. At this point, I had to pause the video because I felt like I was going to throw up. But I made myself keep watching. The camera gets right next to my face. Close enough that if I reached out, I should have been able to touch it. And then, in the video, I open my eyes. Not like waking up. Not confused. Just open. And I'm staring directly into the camera. Into whoever's holding it. And I smile. It's not how I normally smile. It's too slow. Too wide. Like I'm trying to show all my teeth at once. Then in my own voice, perfectly clear, I say, "You should have stayed asleep." The video ends immediately after that. I check the rest of my phone. There's another video from later that night. I haven't watched it yet, because I don't remember falling back asleep. I've always been a quiet sleeper. No snoring, no talking, nothing. At least that's what I thought. About a week ago, my sister stayed over and told me something that didn't sit right. She said I was whispering in my sleep. Not random words, full sentences. Like I was having a conversation with someone. I laughed it off at first, but she looked genuinely uncomfortable. She said it didn't sound like normal sleep talking. Said it sounded focused. Like I knew someone was there. So I downloaded one of those sleep recording apps. Just to prove it was nothing. The first night, it picked up a few sounds, me shifting around, a couple of mumbles. Nothing clear. Second night, same thing. Third night, that's when it changed. There was one recording at 3:12 a.m. It started with silence. Then a soft creak, like my bed shifting under weight. Not me moving. Something else. Then I heard breathing. Not mine. Mine was steady, slow. You could hear it in the background. This was different. Closer to the phone. Wet. Uneven. Like it was right next to my face. I remember pausing the recording there, just staring at my screen, telling myself it had to be distortion or interference or something. Then I kept listening. After about 10 seconds, I started talking. Except it didn't sound like I was asleep. My voice was clear. Awake. You came back, I said. There was a long pause. Then something answered. I almost convinced myself it was just noise. Static. The app glitching. But the longer I listened, the clearer it got. It wasn't words I recognized. But it had rhythm. Tone. Like a language I almost understood. Right after it stopped, I spoke again. You said you wouldn't come back in here. My voice sounded different this time. Tighter. Controlled. Angry. The breathing got closer. Louder. And then, right next to the microphone, something whispered. Clear as day. I never left. I dropped my phone when I heard that. I'm not even exaggerating. It hit the floor and I just sat there, staring at it. I didn't finish the recording until the next morning. I wish I hadn't. After that whisper, there's a few seconds of silence. Then the bed creaks again, like something shifting its weight. And then my breathing changes. It gets faster. Panicked. But I don't wake up. Instead, I start whispering again. Over and over. The same sentence. Don't look under the bed. At first it's quiet. Then louder. More urgent. Almost desperate. Don't look under the bed. Don't look under the bed. Don't look under the bed. It goes on for almost a full minute. And then it just stops. The rest of the recording is silence. No movement. No breathing. Nothing. Just dead air. I checked the time stamp. There were 3 hours left before my alarm. No recordings during that time at all. Like the app didn't pick up a single sound. Which doesn't make sense, because I move in my sleep. I breathe. There should be something. I haven't used the app since. I also haven't checked under my bed. I travel for work a lot, so I'm used to weird hotels. Outdated furniture, strange layouts, the occasional, this place definitely used to be something else, vibe. But this wasn't that. I checked in around 10 p.m. after a long drive. The lobby was empty except for the front desk clerk, who barely looked at me. Just handed me a key card and said, "You're already checked in." I figured he misspoke. Took the card, went up to the 3rd floor. Room 314. I opened the door and immediately felt that weird déjà vu feeling. You know when something looks familiar, but you can't place why. At first, I thought it was just a standard layout. Bed on the right, dresser across from it, bathroom to the left. Then I stepped inside and realized it wasn't similar. It was exact. Same dark blue comforter I have at home. Same cheap wooden dresser with that tiny scratch on the bottom drawer. Same lamp with the slightly crooked shade. Even the same pile of clothes on the chair in the corner. My clothes. The ones I left on my bedroom chair that morning before I drove out. I actually laughed out loud because it was so absurd. I walked over and touched them. Same fabric. Same wrinkles. Same everything. At that point, I started checking everything. Opened the dresser, my stuff inside. Went into the bathroom, my toothbrush, my towel, even the little chip in the sink I've been meaning to fix. I pulled out my phone and checked my address just to ground myself. Still in a hotel. Still miles away from home. I went back into the main room and just stood there, trying to make sense of it. That's when I noticed something small but wrong. The bed. At home, I always leave it unmade. Here, it was perfectly made. Tight corners. Smooth sheets. Like someone had prepared it. For me, I didn't want to, but I checked under the bed anyway. Nothing. Closet empty. Bathroom empty. Everything looked normal again. if you ignored the fact that it was all mine. I told myself maybe I was more tired than I thought. Maybe I booked some themed room without realizing it. Something stupid like that. So I sat on the bed. And that's when I heard it. A soft click. Behind me. I turned slowly. The door had just locked. On its own. The deadbolt slid into place. I hadn't touched it. I got up immediately and tried to open it. Locked. I used the handle, the latch, everything. It wouldn't budge. I grabbed my phone to call the front desk. No signal. No Wi-Fi. Nothing. That's when I heard the second sound. From the bathroom. The light turned on. I know I turned it off earlier. I stood there, staring at the crack under the door as the light spilled out into the room. Then the faucet turned on. Water running. Slow at first, then steady. I didn't move. Couldn't move. Then, over the sound of the water, I heard humming. Soft. Familiar. It took me a second to place it. It was the same stupid tune I hum when I'm brushing my teeth. Every morning. Without thinking. The bathroom door creaked open. Just a few inches. Steam drifted out, even though I hadn't turned on hot water. And then I saw it. A hand. On the edge of the door. My hand. Same scar across the knuckle. Same chipped nail from earlier that day. It tightened its grip slightly. And then, from inside the bathroom, in my voice, "Hey, you're early." I backed up until my legs hit the bed. The thing behind the door laughed. Quiet. Breathy. Exactly like me. And said, "That's okay." A pause. Then the door opened wider. I can go back. I've lived here for about a year. It's one of those older units where they hid pipes and wiring behind a panel in the hallway. Maintenance uses it sometimes, but it's usually screwed shut. A few days ago, I noticed it wasn't. The panel was slightly open, just enough to see darkness behind it. I figured someone forgot to close it after doing work, so I pushed it the rest of the way open to check. There's a narrow crawl space behind it, bare wood, insulation, pipes. You have to crouch to move through it. I probably should have just closed it and moved on. But I didn't. I turned on my phone flashlight and climbed in. It was tighter than I expected. Dust everywhere. The air smelled stale, like it hadn't been disturbed in a long time. I moved a few feet in, following the pipes. That's when I saw it. A door. Not a panel. Not an access hatch. A full door. Standing upright at the end of the crawl space. That didn't make sense. There's no room for another door there. On the other side of that wall is my living room. But there it was. Old wood. Slightly warped. With a handle. I remember just staring at it, trying to convince myself it was part of the building's original structure or something. Then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. There were scratch marks on the inside of the door. Long, deep grooves. Like something had been trying to get out. I should have left right then. Instead, I moved closer. The closer I got, the colder it felt. Not like a draft, just wrong. I reached out and touched the handle. It was warm. Like someone had been holding it. Recently. I jerked my hand back and just listened. At first, nothing. Then, a soft knock. From the other side of the door. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. My chest tightened. I didn't say anything. Didn't move. The knocking came again. This time slower. More deliberate. And then I heard it. Breathing. Right up against the other side. I don't know why, but I whispered hello. There was a long pause. Then something answered. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just calm. Hey. My voice. Exactly mine. Same tone. Same pitch. Like I was standing on the other side of the door. I backed up immediately, hitting my head on a pipe behind me. Nope, I said out loud. No. The thing on the other side let out a soft chuckle. Also my voice. "You found it," it said. I scrambled backward through the crawl space, not even caring how loud I was being. As I was climbing out, it spoke again. Clearer this time. Closer. Like it was right up against the door. "You weren't supposed to find it yet." I got out, slammed the panel shut, and shoved a chair in front of it like that would do anything. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. Yesterday, maintenance came by. I didn't call them. They just showed up. Said they needed to seal an access point. I asked them about the crawlspace door. The guy just looked at me for a second, then said, "There's no door back there." I told him I saw it. Described it. The scratches. The handle. Everything. He didn't respond. Just walked over, opened the panel. And froze. I couldn't see inside from where I was standing. But I saw his face. He slowly closed it again. Didn't say a word. Just took out a drill and screwed the panel shut. Then he added another layer over it. Metal this time. Before he left, I asked him again. "What's back there?" He hesitated, then said very quietly, "If it knocks again, don't answer." That was earlier today. It's 2:43 a.m. now. And I just heard it. 3 taps. From inside the wall. Pause. 3 taps. And this time, it didn't wait for me to respond. It just said, "Open it." I'm still shaking writing this, so I'm just going to lay it out exactly how it happened. Last night around 1:30 a.m., I woke up to my phone on the nightstand, already in a call. Speaker was on, and someone was talking. A woman's voice. Calm. Professional. "Hello. Can you hear me?" It took me a second to realize what I was hearing. 911. I don't remember calling. I didn't touch my phone before bed. I always leave it charging. I grabbed it and said hello. "Yes, I'm here." "I didn't call." She cut me off immediately. "Sir, are you alone in the house?" That question hit me wrong right away. I said yeah. "Why?" There was a pause. Then she said, slower this time, "Sir, stay on the line. Officers are already on their way." My stomach dropped. "Why? What's going on?" Another pause. Then, "Sir, I need you to leave the house. Now." At this point, my brain is trying to catch up. I'm looking around my room. Everything seems normal. "No, you need to tell me what's happening," I said. Her voice changed. Still calm but firmer. "Sir, we received a 911 call from this number approximately 2 minutes ago." "I know, but I didn't." "You did not speak during the call," she continued. "But we could hear movement." I felt this cold wave go through me. "What kind of movement?" I asked. She hesitated, like she didn't want to say it. "Sir, please leave the house." I swung my legs off the bed and stood up, heart pounding. "That doesn't answer my question." Another pause. Then very quietly. It sounded like someone running. I froze. "Running where?" "My house isn't big. There's nowhere to run like that without me hearing it." "I didn't hear anything," I said. The dispatcher didn't respond to that. Instead, she asked, "Sir, is your bedroom door open or closed?" I turned slowly. "Closed." "I closed it before bed," I said. There was a sharp inhale on the other end of the line. "Do not open that door," she said immediately. "Officers will be there in under a minute." That's when I heard it. From the other side of my bedroom door. Footsteps. Vast. Back and forth. Like someone sprinting down the hallway. From one end to the other. Over and over. Way too fast for the size of my house. My grip tightened on the phone. "They're here," I whispered. The dispatcher's voice dropped. "Sir, that's what we heard on the call." The footsteps stopped. Instantly. Dead silence. Then, a single step. Right up to my door. The floor creaked. Something was standing there. I couldn't breathe. "Sir," the dispatcher said, "are you still with me?" Before I could answer, my doorknob moved. Just a slight twitch. Then slowly started to turn. I backed up until I hit the wall. It's trying to open it, I whispered. Do not let it in, she said. The knob stopped. For a second, nothing happened. Then, from the other side, a voice. Mine. Perfectly clear. Come. Hey, it's me. I felt my stomach drop out from under me. I'm in here, I said, barely able to get the words out. The voice on the other side laughed softly. Same laugh. Same tone. I know, it said. The dispatcher went silent. Completely silent. Hello? I whispered into the phone. No response. Just quiet. Then suddenly, a loud pounding on my front door. Police shouting, open up. I ran for it. Didn't even look back. I unlocked the front door and practically fell outside. They pulled me away immediately, asking if I was okay if anyone else was inside. I tried to explain, but I don't think I made any sense. One of the officers went in. Then another. They cleared the house. Every room. Every closet. Nothing. No sign of forced entry. No open windows. No one inside. I asked them about the 911 call. About the footsteps. About the voice. They didn't answer directly. One of them just said, "You did the right thing leaving." I pushed harder. Asked what they actually heard. The officer looked at me for a long second. Then said, "We heard the footsteps." I waited. He didn't say anything else. So what? I asked. That's it. He shook his head slightly. No, he said. Not just that. I felt my chest tighten again. What else? He hesitated. Then finally said, while it was running, it sounded like it was getting closer to the phone. I didn't understand at first. Then it hit me. The call came from my bedroom. My phone was on my nightstand, which means whatever was running started somewhere else in the house and ran all the way to my door. Right before I woke up, I installed a basic home security system a couple months ago. Nothing crazy, just door sensors, a motion detector in the hallway, and a control panel by my bed. There are 2 modes. Away mode arms everything, including motion inside. Stay mode only arms doors/windows, so you can move around inside. I always use stay mode at night. Last night, I set it like usual around 11:30 p.m. Checked the doors, locked everything, went to bed. Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up to a soft chime. Not the full alarm, just the system voice. Quiet. Calm. Motion detected. Hallway. I didn't move. My brain took a second to process what I heard. That shouldn't be possible. Motion sensors are disabled in stay mode. I sat up and looked at the control panel across the room. The screen was glowing. It still said, stay mode armed. Then it chimed again. Motion detected. Hallway. My chest tightened. I grabbed my phone and opened the app. Same thing. Stay mode active. No errors. No switching modes. Just motion. In my hallway. I told myself it had to be a glitch. Maybe the sensor malfunctioned. So I stayed in bed and listened. For a full minute, nothing happened. Then, footsteps. Slow. Measured. Walking down the hallway. Toward my bedroom. I felt my whole body go cold. I live alone. There's no one else here. The footsteps stopped right outside my door. The system chimed again. Motion detected. Bedroom door. I stared at the handle. It didn't move. Nothing moved. But I could feel it. Something standing there. Close. The panel spoke again, a little louder this time. Motion detected. Bedroom. I stopped breathing. That's impossible. The door was still closed. Nothing had come in. And yet, according to the system, something was now inside my room. I slowly turned my head. The control panel was mounted on the wall across from my bed. The small camera built into it for video calls with support was active. Little green light on. I've never seen it turn on by itself before. Then the panel spoke again. But this time, it didn't use the normal system voice. It used mine. Motion detected, it said. Perfectly in my voice. Same tone. Same pitch. Calm. Controlled. Behind you. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. I just sat there, staring at the panel as the green light blinked. Then it spoke one last time. Still in my voice. Don't look. A pause. And then softer. It doesn't like that. I installed a basic home security system a couple months ago. Nothing crazy, just door sensors, a motion detector in the hallway, and a control panel by my bed. There are 2 modes. Away mode arms everything, including motion inside. Stay mode only arms doors/windows, so you can move around inside. I always use stay mode at night. Last night, I set it like usual around 11:30 p.m. Checked the doors, locked everything, went to bed. Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up to a soft chime. Not the full alarm, just the system voice. Quiet. Calm. Motion detected. Hallway. I didn't move. My brain took a second to process what I heard. That shouldn't be possible. Motion sensors are disabled in stay mode. I sat up and looked at the control panel across the room. The screen was glowing. It still said, stay mode armed. Then it chimed again. Motion detected. Hallway. My chest tightened. I grabbed my phone and opened the app. Same thing. Stay mode active. No errors. No switching modes. Just motion. In my hallway. I told myself it had to be a glitch. Maybe the sensor malfunctioned. So I stayed in bed and listened. For a full minute, nothing happened. Then, footsteps. Slow. Measured. Walking down the hallway. Toward my bedroom. I felt my whole body go cold. I live alone. There's no one else here. The footsteps stopped right outside my door. The system chimed again. Motion detected. Bedroom door. I stared at the handle. It didn't move. Nothing moved. But I could feel it. Something standing there. Close. The panel spoke again, a little louder this time. Motion detected. Bedroom. I stopped breathing. That's impossible. The door was still closed. Nothing had come in. And yet, according to the system, something was now inside my room. I slowly turned my head. The control panel was mounted on the wall across from my bed. The small camera built into it for video calls with support was active. Little green light on. I've never seen it turn on by itself before. Then the panel spoke again. But this time, it didn't use the normal system voice. It used mine. Motion detected, it said. Perfectly in my voice. Same tone. Same pitch. Calm. Controlled. Behind you. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. I just sat there, staring at the panel as the green light blinked. Then it spoke one last time. Still in my voice. Don't look. A pause. And then softer. It doesn't like that. It learned how to knock.